Chenluo is thoroughly infuriated this time. No matter how Seal pleads on its knees, Chenluo is determined to execute it cruelly and orders it to assemble by the sea first. Later, your crime of offending the divine might will be dealt with. Upon hearing this, Seal nearly wet itself in fear, knowing it was doomed, but it can't and doesn't dare to run, so it quickly crawls towards the sea with trembling fear. Even though Chenluo had previously thought of killing Seal to get the crystal, he dismissed the idea considering its loyalty. Now, seeing the corpses slaughtered by it all over the ground, Chenluo also puts away the last bit of pity. Moreover, this guy just publicly defied the Sea King, causing me to lose face in front of my enemies. I must kill the chicken to scare the monkey and set an example. After arriving at the seaside, a marine creature shouted urgently, "Sea King is here. Everyone, come and pay your respects to the new king of the sea." As soon as these words were spoken, hundreds of giant marine creatures suddenly sprang up from the sea surface, and they all shouted in unison, "Greetings, Sea King." This spectacular scene instantly dumbfounded Su Kun, who was standing aside. He muttered to himself, "Is this guy really human? Why do the terrifying sea monsters, usually so fearsome, all bow down to him?" At this moment, Chenluo said with a grin, "All of you, stand up. Tell me, to whom does this sea belong?" Upon hearing this, the big whale hurriedly said, "Why do you ask such a question? Need it be said? The sea, of course, belongs to you, Sea King." As soon as these words were spoken, all the marine creatures chorused that the entire sea belongs to the Sea King. Seeing this, Chenluo quickly turned his head to look at the frightened Su Kun behind him, and then said coldly, "You heard what was just said, didn't you? Now you tell me, do I not have the right to stop you from catching marine creatures?" At this moment, Su Kun was so shocked that he could hardly speak. He stuttered and asked, Who exactly are you?" But just at this moment, the giant toad suddenly spat out a luminous pearl from its mouth as a greeting gift to the Sea King. Seeing this, Zhao Zi urgently shouted, "The toad offers a precious night illumination pearl as a gift. Please accept it, Sea King." As the words fell, all the marine creatures presented their prepared gifts to show their respect. Colorful corals, pearls larger than one's head, and all kinds of rare treasures were offered. Only Seal had nothing to present. Seeing this, Chenluo weakly asked, "Seal, where's your gift?" Hearing this, Seal hurriedly and nervously replied, "My lord Sea King, I lost the gift I had prepared. It might have fallen when you kicked me earlier. I'll go and find it right away." Upon hearing this, Chenluo's face instantly changed. "No need to look for it. You disrespected my divine might just now, and you brazenly wanted to tear me apart. What do you all think its punishment should be?" Although Seal was always respectful in front of Chenluo, in front of other marine creatures, it was quite arrogant. At this moment, an octopus shouted, "Seal, you are so brave. You dared to think of tearing apart our Sea King. I suggest we kill it directly." With these words, all the marine creatures chimed in, "Anyone who offends the Sea King must be killed. Don't dirty your hands. Let me do it." Seeing this, Seal immediately fell to its knees with a thud, shouting loudly, "Sea King, my lord, I realize my mistake. Please forgive me this time." But before it could finish speaking, Seal was exiled into a group of marine creatures by Chenluo using a spatial technique. In just 2 seconds, Seal was torn apart instantly by the marine creatures. But at this moment, a mocking voice suddenly came from afar. "The new Sea King is just so-so. Ha!" Upon a closer look, it was a mermaid mocking Chenluo. After his shock, Chenluo was quite delighted, because the tears of a mermaid were a good thing. Eating them could instantly restore one's special ability. With it, there would be no need to bully my congealed frost sister anymore. Immediately, Chenluo issued the order to capture the mermaid alive. As soon as his words fell, the marine creatures pounced on the mermaid like wolves. Seeing this, the mermaid did not hesitate, immediately turning into a human shape and flying into the air. Witnessing this, Chenluo's pupils sharply constricted, unbelievingly watching the mermaid before him. It was an astonishment at its king-level strength, but the pair of purple shoes on its feet that caught his eye. Clearly, they were made of the same material as his Sea King armor. Could these shoes be a matching pair with the armor? If this set is shoes, then it must have a helmet or other parts. At this moment, the mermaid spoke smugly, "Aren't you the Sea King? If you have the ability, come and catch me yourself, idiot." Hearing this, Chenluo smiled slightly, murmuring to himself, "No matter how fast you are, it's meaningless in front of spatial exile." With a wave of Chenluo's large hand, a force of space instantly pulled the mermaid towards him. The next second, it was completely bewildered. How did I automatically come in front of him? Before it could figure out the situation, a resounding slap fiercely landed on its face. Seeing this, the marine creatures immediately started to kick it while it was down. "Weren't you running very fast? Why aren't you running now? Look at what you are, daring to defy the divine might of Lord Sea King. Wait for your punishment." Chenluo issued the order to remove its shoes. Unexpectedly, the mermaid would rather die than comply, boasting, "I won't give them to you. What can you do about it?" Ha! Seeing this, Chenluo did not indulge it, immediately used a void walk to get in front of it. Then, with a slap, he sent another slap toward it, and then he coldly said, "Defy the king's order again, and you shall be killed without mercy." Upon hearing this, the mermaid, whose face was swollen from the slaps, obediently took off the shoes, and respectfully put them on the feet of the Sea King. The moment the shoes were put on, the Sea King's war boots automatically adjusted to the appropriate size. The marine creatures, seeing this scene, couldn't help but exclaim, "This speed is simply defying the heavens. Lord Sea King is awesome." In the next second, Chenluo teleported in front of the mermaid, asking what its name was, and where it found the pair of shoes. Hearing this, the mermaid hurriedly responded, "My name is Fengyu. I found the shoes in the deep sea by chance. Do you want me, a little woman, to take you there now?" Secretly it thought, this Sea King really has some skills. If I could conquer this man, wouldn't I rightfully become the lady of the Sea King? At this moment, Chenluo spoke solemnly, "You don't have to take me there. Have you seen other parts that match these shoes?" Hearing this, the mermaid immediately indicated, "I only found these shoes, and have not seen other parts." As soon as its words fell, a seal immediately raised its paw, signifying, "My nose is very sensitive. I am willing to relieve Lord Sea King of his worries. Just let me smell those shoes, and I can help Lord Sea King find the treasure." Upon hearing this, Chenluo immediately brought the shoes to the seal's face. The seal only sniffed for 2 seconds, and it already had an answer in its mind. It then hurriedly shouted, "I smelled this scent half a year ago. At that time, my little brother found a round thing, and it smelled exactly the same as this." Upon hearing this, Chenluo was instantly overjoyed, thinking, based on its shape, this thing is definitely a helmet. So, he immediately asked the seal, "Where is it? Bring it to your king to see." But who would have known? The next words from the seal instantly infuriated Chenluo. The seal said, "At the time, I thought the helmet was dirty, so I didn't take it. I let the children kick it around like a ball." Chenluo was not pleased with this, quickly asking the seal, "Can it still be found?" Upon hearing this, the seal immediately nodded, indicating, "I remember the scent. It should not be a big problem. I will take you there right now. However, my hometown is on the other side of the ocean. If I swim at full speed, it will take about 2 days." Hearing this, Chenluo immediately decided to first send Zhao Zi and the mermaid back, and then go with the seal across the ocean to find the battle helmet. Thinking of this, Chenluo immediately ordered the marine creatures to stand by at the seashore, saying, "I will return shortly." Having said that, he used a void walk with the 2 others and disappeared from the spot. The next second, they mysteriously returned to Dawn City. To this, Zhao Zi was already accustomed, while the mermaid, Fengyu, was shocked, wide-eyed and agape, thinking, if this isn't divine, what is? Seeing Chenluo bring back one of her kind, Congealed Frost hurriedly came forward with a warm greeting. Who would have known? Fengyu showed a face full of disdain, secretly saying, "There are actually mermaids more beautiful than me in this world. How annoying." At this moment, Chenluo coldly said, "Congealed Frost, sister, I am leaving this one to you. If it dares to run away, call me, and Sea Princess will deal with it." Afterward, he immediately found Rice, who was taking a nap, asking him to quickly get up and fortune tell for him, inquiring if he will be able to find what he's looking for this time. Hearing this, Rice didn't procrastinate, immediately getting up to predict the outcome of this venture for Chenluo. Soon, Rice figured out that this trip would be a turning point in his destiny, and moreover, the thing he was going to do would affect many people. However, whether the impact was good or bad was still unknown. Upon hearing this, Chenluo immediately fell into contemplation, secretly saying, "What I am going to do this time is to find the other parts of the divine armor. If I assemble this set of equipment, even emperor-level strong beings will be merely little brothers in front of me." Speaking of which, this set of divine armor is quite mysterious. Could the end of the world have something to do with this set of armor? Maybe after assembling the armor, many mysteries of the apocalypse could be unveiled. Thinking of this, Chenluo immediately asked Rice, "Will I encounter danger on this trip?" Upon hearing this, Rice shook his head. "At least within a month, you will not encounter any danger. You can go on your journey with ease." Hearing this, Chenluo gave a slight smile, thinking, since there is no danger, what is he waiting for? Having said this, he used a void walk to arrive at the seashore. Afterward, he immediately asked the seal for the specific direction to its old home. Upon hearing this, the seal promptly stated, "It's in the west, approximately 3 days' journey." "Lord Sea King, ride on me. I will take you there right now to search." But before it could finish speaking, Chenluo lifted up the seal, employing the void walk. Half a day later, the seal appeared incredibly shocked on the beach of its hometown. Seeing this, the seal hurriedly indicated that the battle helmet was nearby, saying, "I can faintly smell it." This delighted Chenluo to no end, and he immediately shouted, "What are you waiting for? Find it for me right away. Even if you have to dig 3 feet into the ground, find it." The seal immediately called its children to help, all in for the search, and made a military order. Even if they had to dig 3 feet into the ground, they must find the battle helmet and present it to the Sea King. Under the leadership of the seal, the children soon began a carpet-like search. However, when Chenluo saw the digging action of the seals, it reminded him of a group of mysterious creatures from his past life. Back then, they were also frantically digging in the sand at the seaside, as if looking for something important. Could it be that they were also looking for the divine armor at that time? This couldn't help but give Chenluo a chill down his spine. In his past life, it was because of the sudden appearance of these creatures that caused human extinction in an instant, and he ultimately chose to end his life. In this regard, this set of divine armor definitely had a myriad of connections with the outbreak of the apocalypse. But just at this moment, the seal suddenly shouted, "The battle helmet is found. The scent inside is exactly the same as that pair of shoes." Seeing this, Chenluo didn't hesitate, and immediately picked up the the round object and cleaned it in the sea. Indeed, it was a purple helmet with a blue gem on it. This is definitely the divine helmet, no doubt. However, there was a hole the size of an egg on the helmet. Could this be the cause of death of the owner of the divine armor? To be able to break the divine armor, what kind of terrifying existence was the opponent? Thinking of this, Chenluo immediately thought of the words Sea Princess had said to him. The reason why marine creatures advance faster than humans and zombies is because they ate a kind of mysterious meat, and the divine armor was all found in the sea. Could it be that the owner of the divine armor shattered into many pieces for some reason and fell into the sea back then, and his flesh and blood alone gave marine creatures the potential of king level? But while Chenluo was imagining this, the divine helmet suddenly flashed with bursts of blue light. Then a sentence in a language he couldn't understand resounded in his ears. Chenluo was immediately stunned on the spot. Although he couldn't understand what the words meant, he could hear that it was the language of those mysterious creatures. He couldn't help but take a breath, mumbling, "Why do I suddenly have the feeling of opening Pandora's box?" Meanwhile, on the other side, Rice's expression suddenly became extremely uncomfortable, and a terrifying energy erupted all around her. Seeing this, Mealy quickly stepped forward to ask Rice what was happening. At this moment, Rice, with a blank gaze, said, "I saw what will happen in the future. In the not-so-distant future, a catastrophe even more terrifying than the apocalypse will descend." And at this moment, Chenluo, still completely unaware, continues to fiddle with the divine helmet in his hands. Judging from the capabilities displayed by the helmet just now, Chenluo concluded that the gem on the helmet has the ability to communicate. Could it be that the strange creatures from his previous life located Earth through this function? If that's the case, didn't he just advance the time of the monster's invasion of Earth? In his previous life, the creatures only appeared 5 years after the apocalypse erupted. But on second thought, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. The creatures did not all come at once, but invaded Earth gradually, from the weaker to the stronger. Once the creatures landed, high-level crystals would become much easier to obtain. Thus everyone's rate of promotion would multiply. Thinking of this, Chenluo decided to go back and ask Rice for a prediction, because all of these are just his speculations. It's not certain whether the monster's invasion is related to the gem on the helmet or not. But at this moment, Xiao Zi suddenly sent Chenluo a telepathic message. "Brother Chen, Rice is looking for you urgently. Please return to Dawn City as soon as possible." Hearing this, Chenluo immediately ordered the marine creatures to continue waiting here. "I will be back shortly." Saying this, he used a void walk to return to the base. Then he immediately asked Rice, "What's the urgent matter for calling me back so hastily?" Hearing this, Rice immediately told Chenluo about what she had foreseen just now. The bad news is, indeed Chenluo finding the helmet has accelerated the process of the monster's invasion. The good news is, Rice's prediction was that the monsters would invade Earth a year from now, meaning there is still 1 year to prepare in advance. By that time, the main members under him as well as the marine creature army would have long been promoted to king level. What's there to fear then? Thinking of this, a faint smile emerged on Chenluo's lips, murmuring, "As I guessed." Hearing these words, Rice was immediately shocked, and then shouted, "Do you mean you knew all along that the monsters would descend?" Chenluo did not directly answer, patted Rice on the head, saying, "Don't worry, I am fully confident in dealing with this crisis." Upon hearing these words, Rice immediately responded, "As long as you have a plan to deal with it, that's good. However, that mermaid you brought back is kind of tricky to deal with. Do you want to go check on her?" Meanwhile, on the other side, Congealed Frost kindly brought over her favorite dish, tomato beef brisket, for Feng Yu to eat. But unexpectedly, the bowl was ruthlessly overturned by the latter. Seeing this, Sea Princess did not spoil her, immediately scolding, "Who gave you the courage to throw the bowl?" After saying that, Sea Princess delivered a resounding slap. This scene was precisely witnessed by Chenluo, who had just arrived. At this moment, Rice gently said, "Congealed Frost doesn't even spare this for herself, and you treat her like this. It's really ungrateful." Seeing Chenluo arrive, Feng Yu quickly ran over, grievously saying, "Sea King sir, they bullied me. Can I follow and serve you from now on?" But before she could finish her words, Chenluo suddenly punched her in the face, muttering to himself, "I brought you back to work on the special ability pearls. If you don't get along with Congealed Frost, this will really not be easy to handle. I have to give some respect to Congealed Frost, my little sister. Now you've burned your bridges. Don't blame me for being heartless." Feng Yu, bewildered at this moment, was somewhat dumbfounded, and quickly shouted, "How can you hit me?" But who knew? Just as the words fell, Chenluo backhanded her with another big slap across the face. The next second, Feng Yu's bean-sized tears began to stream non-stop. What Chenluo didn't expect at all was, her tears did not turn into pearls. Could it be because she wasn't sad enough? Thinking of this, Chenluo immediately increased the intensity of his care, but the result still did not change. At this moment, Chenluo finally realized, the pearls are the crystallization of special abilities. Could it be because her abilities were insufficient? Subsequently, he immediately stopped his caring actions, and then asked Sea Princess, did she just consume a large amount of special ability? Upon hearing this, Sea Princess immediately stated that was not the case, and that Congealed Frost had always been serving her well with food and drink. Hearing these words, Chenluo finally realized his mistake. Not every every mermaid possessed this magical ability. Only congealed Frost's younger sister did. So, this creature has no value to use. At this moment, Feng Yu, enraged, said, "How dare you treat me like this? I will fight you." But who knew? Just as the words fell, Sea Princess cast a dark curse on her, and then shouted, "How dare you speak rudely to my brother? Look at your own worth." The next second, Feng Yu, filled with pain, fell to the ground, rolling non-stop. Seeing this, Chenluo quickly said, "Don't kill her just yet. Ask her how she managed to break through to king level. After all, she was the one who found the divine boots." Hearing these words, Sea Princess immediately spoke gently. "Don't worry, I've got this. You must be exhausted after all that time. You should rest well first." Upon hearing this, Chenluo sighed, quietly saying to himself, "My sister is so good to me. When will I be able to master time reversal to help her become younger?" Therefore, the urgent task at hand is to break through to Emperor level as soon as possible, not just for my sister, but also for the impending monster descent. Being strong alone, I cannot cope with this crisis. We must find a way to enhance everyone's overall strength. Nowadays, the zombies on this continent are simply not enough for everyone to kill. Moreover, those with good qualifications have all gone to the big strong base. High-level crystals are becoming increasingly difficult to obtain. It seems that it is now time to go to other continents for crystals. Thinking of this, Chenluo immediately used a void walk to arrive at the seaside, whispering to himself that in this life, he must make good use of his Sea King status to accomplish the plan of crossing the sea. At that moment, Chenluo spoke solemnly, "Just now, Seal has done a great merit. Therefore, I decide to bestow divine power upon it." After saying that, he used time acceleration to help Seal break through to king level. This made the marine creatures extremely envious, shouting one after another, "We also want to make meritorious deeds. We also want to receive the blessing of Sea King." Hearing this, Chenluo slightly smiled, and then shouted, "Your chance to perform meritorious deeds is here. But this time, only large marine creatures are needed to participate. Just send the people I arranged to the other side of the ocean." But who would have thought that as soon as his words fell, the great whale spoke through gritted teeth, "Damn, humans have killed many of my kin. Whoever wants to do this job, do it." The words of the great whale immediately resonated with other marine creatures, one after another expressing their unwillingness to participate in the task of transporting humans. However, Chenluo didn't pay any attention to this, but shouted, "For those who are willing to participate in this action, I will choose the 3 best performing marine creatures each month to bestow divine power upon." As soon as these words came out, the marine creatures immediately changed their tune, shouting one after another, "We are willing to serve Sea King." Hearing this, Chenluo chuckled, "Very good. I will notify everyone to come here when I'm ready. You all may withdraw for now." After that, he used a void walk to arrive at the Mi Ling base, and then handed a king-level fire element crystal to her. This stunned Mi Ling. It was the first time she had seen such a large crystal. But who knew that upon receiving the crystal, Mi Ling did not show a trace of surprise, but instead said with a worried face, "I have noticed that a lot of foreigners have come here recently, often sneaking around near our base. I think they are spies." Upon hearing this, Chenluo suddenly realized, quietly saying to himself, "How could I forget this? In the previous life, it was 2 years after the apocalypse that Brown Bear and UZ allied to invade us. Not only did they plunder a large number of our crystals, but they also abducted many women of the light and nature factions. Following a person who proclaimed himself the Great Prophet proposing the God-making plan, they tried to massively kill the ability users here to steal crystals, then hand all the high-level crystals to him for absorption in an attempt to transform himself into a being on par with gods. However, in Chenluo's view, this guy is just a clown who can't stir up any big waves. If they dare to come and invade, my Dawn City will make sure they can't return." Then Chenluo shared the plan of shifting the strategic focus with Mi Ling, asking her to prepare to relocate all members of the sub-base to other continents. Upon hearing this, Mi Ling immediately curiously asked, "If we all leave, what about the invasion by Brown Bear and UZ?" Hearing this, Chenluo slightly smiled, "Don't worry, I will take care of this matter in advance. Also, I heard from Zhao Hai that there is a person named Mu Hong nearby, who is said to be a top-notch wind element ability user. Is that correct?" Upon hearing this, Mi Ling quickly confirmed that such a person did exist, located at the base 30 kilometers west of them. Chenluo then immediately expressed, "I'll go and see if I can recruit this person. After all, we will also need help with the upcoming monster descent." Saying this, Chenluo used a void walk and disappeared on the spot. The next second, he appeared above Mu Hong's base, but found Chen Gaoyang persuading Mu Hong to jointly deal with Dawn City. Mu Hong was not foolish and immediately stated, "How many lives do you have to dare to talk wildly about destroying Dawn City?" At this moment, Chen Gaoyang confidently said, "Now we have united more than a dozen bases, and there is also a remarkably powerful zombie king. If you join us, I am 100% sure of our success." As soon as these words fell, Mu Hong once again refused to join and expressed that if they won, the strength of the zombies would naturally surge, which would be all harm and no benefit to humanity. Seeing this, Wan Jiangue from the side hurriedly suggested, "If we ally with the zombies, it's just to let them fight with Dawn City, and in the end, we will reap the benefits of the fish fisherman. Won't that be great? Only after hearing this did Muhong loosen his stance and agree. But first I have to see if the zombie king has that strength. Otherwise, I can't possibly lead my brothers to their deaths. Witnessing this scene, Chenluo was instantly infuriated, whispering to himself, well done, Wan Jiangui. Originally, I wanted to take Muhong under my wing, but you managed to turn her against me. But just then, Wan Jiangui secretly communicated to Chenluo the names of 13 individuals plotting against Dawn City using telepathic transmission. At this moment, he also understood that he couldn't let Wan Jiangui continue this way. This guy was clearly helping him make enemies everywhere. It was better to let him act early. Under Wan Jiangui's instigation, that night, he gathered various forces and the zombie king together. At this moment, Big Strong finally understood and said to himself, so Chen Gaoyang wants to use me against Dawn City. I want to take you as a little brother, but you want to deal with my big brother. Such audacity. Since that is the case, don't blame me for being ruthless. I will kill them all later and give them to my big brother as a gift. At this moment, Muhong spoke solemnly. I've long heard of the fame of the zombie king. I wonder if, before attacking Dawn City, you'd like to spar with me so I can witness your abilities? Hearing this, Big Strong chuckled. There's no need for that anymore, because tonight, everyone present will die. Without wasting words, Big Strong lunged into the crowd, prepared to eliminate all threats for his elder brother. Seeing this, Wan Jiangui didn't hesitate, immediately unleashing his ultimate move, sword and man as one. In the next second, Wan Jiangui transformed into a long sword, flying towards Big Strong. This delighted Big Strong greatly. I didn't expect this kid could actually transform into a weapon. Witnessing this, the pupils of Muhong and the others shrank sharply. So that's how it is. We've been deceived by this traitor, Wan Jiangui. He's in cahoots with the zombie king. With that, Muhong unleashed her signature move, Wind of the Four Symbols, shouting for everyone to join the fight and deal with the zombie first. Several powerful abilities were then launched at Big Strong. Although Muhong's Wind of the Four Symbols considerably slowed him down, making him unable to dodge and only able to withstand the barrage of attacks, this onslaught didn't cause any substantial damage to Big Strong. Big Strong grinned and said, I genuinely underestimated you lot. Teaming up, you can momentarily bind me. However, that's all you can do. With that, Big Strong, swinging the transformed sword, began to counterattack, quickly turning the tide of battle. This frightened Chen Gaoyang immensely, who hastily shouted, I am your loyal servant. Please spare me this once. However, no sooner had the words left his mouth than Big Strong brutally smacked him on the head with the sword's hilt, muttering, I wouldn't dare keep a servant like you. You almost got me killed. With that, he used a blink step to arrive in front of Muhong. Without waiting for her to react, Big Strong brutally kicked her in the stomach. Within only 2 minutes, Big Strong had cleanly and decisively dealt with the leaders of these bases. Then, Big Strong coldly spoke, I thought you all had some abilities. Just this, and you dare to trouble Chenluo? Isn't this seeking death? Even I only have the portion to flee upon seeing Chenluo. But just at this moment, a terrifying aura suddenly erupted from Chen Gaoyang. The next second, he unexpectedly summoned a monster over 20 meters tall. Seeing this, Chenluo's eyes lit up instantly. So, this guy is a level 8 dark summoner. I can use him to farm level 9 crystals. Then, Chen Gaoyang suddenly shouted, everyone, run. I'll cover the rear. With that, he used a gravity spell to bind Big Strong. Hearing this, everyone didn't dally and immediately began to flee in panic. Just then, Chenluo appeared beside Big Strong in a flash, murmuring, Big brother heard your words just now. You really didn't disappoint me. Hearing this, Chen Gaoyang went numb. So, the zombie king is actually Chenluo's little brother. I was foolish enough to have his little brother help me against him. From the moment I asked the zombie king to deal with Dawn City, my fate today was sealed. But what was strange was that Chenluo didn't fatally strike him, patted his face, saying, I didn't expect that you would be a dark summoner. You won't have to die then. Come home with me and practice your summoning spells diligently. Hearing this, Chen Gaoyang was shocked and then shouted, are you trying to use me to exploit a bug? But before he could finish speaking, Chenluo delivered a crisp slap to his face, murmuring, you think you know a lot, kid. If you knew this would happen, why would you have done it in the first place? With that, he took Chen Gaoyang and used a void walk to return to the base. But just then, Yinling suddenly ran over and yelled, Master, something's wrong. While I was pondering your void walk, I accidentally created a portal. Please come and check it out with me. Hearing this, Chenluo didn't hesitate and immediately handed Chen Gaoyang over to his minions to watch, then hurriedly followed Yinling. Subsequently, Yinling brought her master to the portal and explained that it was very peculiar. I've tried to go through it several times, but each time I get pushed back out. Chenluo immediately replied, I'll go in and see what the problem is. Although Chenluo wasn't ejected by the portal, the further he walked inside, the more resistance he felt. Just as Chenluo was preparing to forcefully pass through the portal, Yinling suddenly shouted, Master, I can't hold on much longer. Seeing this, Chenluo immediately exited the portal and handed a psionic pearl to Yinling, asking her to first restore her psionic power. Next time you create a portal, try to lock the exit position and see. After that, Yinling, following her master's advice, activated her skill again. This time, she could clearly perceive that this portal led to the master's backyard. So, Chenluo casually threw a teacup into it, discovering that the teacup was unaffected and disappeared directly after entering the portal. Seeing this, Chenluo used Void Walk to return to the yard and indeed saw the pink teacup fall out from the other end of the portal. Observing this, Chenluo immediately fell into deep thought. Could it be that this portal can only transmit inanimate objects? If so, this ability has no value. Thinking this, Chenluo immediately asked Yinling to try throwing some living things into the portal. At his words, Yinling backhandedly threw several nearby members and a chicken into it. Without exception, they all successfully arrived in Chenluo's backyard, and even Yinling herself successfully passed through the portal. At this moment, Yinling finally realized, it turns out the portal can only transmit living entities weaker than myself. The reason I couldn't pass through the first time is that the exit was set too far away. Therefore, that portal could only transmit psionics below level 10. That's why neither master nor I could enter. Although this skill is somewhat similar to Void Walk, constructing a portal takes a lot of time. Therefore, this skill doesn't have much combat applicability. However, it's a divine skill for large-scale member transportation. Maybe we can use this to transport everyone to another continent. Chenluo, based on observation, constructed a spatial tunnel. Being able to master even Void Walk, this kind of spatial portal naturally wouldn't trouble him. It was just that he hadn't thought in this direction before. But the moment the portal was fully formed, Chenluo suddenly thought of the monsters that invaded Earth in his previous life. Wasn't it through such portals that they came to Earth? How terrifying must the strength of the person who created that portal be to establish a space-time tunnel between planets? Chenluo, who had grasped this skill, instantly understood why the monsters didn't invade in one wave, but arrived on Earth in batches. Thinking of this, Chenluo scratched his head, and his mood became heavy. Seeing this, Yinling hurriedly stepped forward and asked, "Master, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell?" At this, Chenluo immediately said, "Master is fine. Seeing you practice so diligently makes me very happy. Go and notify everyone for your master. We will meet at the seaside and prepare to go to other continents." Watching Yinling's departing figure, Chenluo couldn't help but sigh. The more you know, the more worries you have. Now we can only take it one step at a time. The urgent matter is to quickly enhance everyone's strength. Subsequently, Chenluo led all members to the seashore, instructing everyone to embark upon the marine creatures army to execute the sea crossing plan. While he and the core members took the lead on the Golden Eagle, they quickly arrived at the first stop, Kangaroo Continent. But unexpectedly, the scene of the Golden Eagle circling in the sky was spotted by several large kangaroos. Seeing this, the kangaroos were not polite and greeted Chenluo in a friendly manner. "Get out of here, asshole." This made Thunder King very angry, and he quickly shouted, "Let me educate these ignorant creatures." Hearing this, Chenluo immediately said, "No need. If they dare speak to me like this, I must personally teach them how to behave." Saying this, Chenluo clenched his fist and violently charged towards the kangaroo, murmuring, "Don't say I'm bullying you." Facing Chenluo's aggressive punch, the kangaroo not only did not retreat, but even threw a punch to squarely meet him. This instant made Chenluo realize something was off, secretly thinking, "This isn't good. This reaction speed is definitely king level." With a boom, the powerful punches collided, and the intense fist wind forced them both to take 3 steps back. This immediately piqued Chenluo's interest, and he assumed a very provocative pose, shouting, "Come on." Hearing this, the kangaroo didn't hesitate, shouting, "Eat my left hook," and charged at him. The kangaroo wasn't lying. A left hook indeed aimed at Chenluo, but it was easily dodged by him moving to the right. Unbeknownst to him, all of the kangaroo's power was concentrated in its right hand. Before Chenluo could react, a sudden right hook viciously smashed into his face. The powerful force instantly sent Chenluo flying. Before he could figure out what happened, the kangaroo eerily appeared in front of him, murmuring, "This arrogant guy is nothing much. Ha, I'll take your life while you're down." And then, like a rainstorm, fists poured down on him, their speed as fast as lightning, and angles extremely tricky. Chenluo, who was not good at hand-to-hand combat, could only passively take hits. At this moment, Thunder King, watching from the side, was stunned, shouting, "Master, can you handle this? Should I take over?" At that moment, the kangaroo shouted, "Right hook," but swung its tail viciously at Chenluo's waist, sending him flying once again. This thoroughly enraged Chenluo. "How dare you play dirty tricks with me?" Saying this, he applied the advanced version of time acceleration to himself, instantly increasing his speed by 5 times. Although this move temporarily gave him a far-leading speed, it also increased his physical exhaustion by 5 times. Chenluo shouted, "Watch my fist." In the next instant, the kangaroo felt a blur before its eyes, and the casserole-sized fist ruthlessly slammed into its face. Following closely, a series of punches consecutively roared forward. The big kangaroo couldn't react at all, and at this moment, it only felt its head buzzing. Chenluo immediately shouted again, "Shadowless kick." The next moment he was airborne, relentlessly kicking at it with both feet. As soon as he spoke, the kangaroo was sent flying by hundreds of heavy kicks. Now, the stunned kangaroo was completely dumbfounded, secretly saying to itself that this guy was not on the same level as it. Having said that, it started to flee frantically. At this point, Chenluo smirked and said, "No one has ever successfully escaped under my watch, not even a kangaroo. With his loud shout of spatial banishment, the next second, the kangaroo was suddenly stepped on by Chenluo, murmuring, "Weren't you pretty good with your punches and kicks? Why are you running? Who are you telling to get lost just now?" Chenluo began to show it some friendly care. Chenluo sensed something was wrong. The advanced time acceleration was good, but at the same time, the several-fold increase in energy expenditure is indeed a bit more than I can handle. Short-term use was fine, but it was not suitable for prolonged use in battle. How could he use his time abilities better in a fight? What if he reversed the time acceleration? Would that create a time slowdown effect? Thinking of this, Chenluo immediately began to try reversing the time acceleration. Unexpectedly, after using it on the kangaroo several times, its speed did not decrease in the slightest. However, just as Chenluo was distracted thinking about the reasons, the creature took the opportunity to suddenly kick towards him with a heart-piercing kick. In the crucial moment, Chenluo released the time slow. The next instant, the kangaroo's speed slowed down by 10 times. He secretly said to himself, "Potential is indeed forced out." Without waiting for the opponent to react, a flying kick viciously struck it. Now, the puzzled kangaroo was very confused. It clearly saw him kick and subconsciously wanted to dodge, but its body could not respond at all. Then, Chenluo grinned and said, "Now I give you two choices. Either you become my underling, or you die." Just like that. Upon hearing this, the kangaroo hurriedly nodded, signaling it chose to be his underling, secretly saying to itself, "A wise man knows when to bend and when to stretch. Just wait, when I get a chance, you'll see if I run or not." But at this moment, Sea Princess suddenly snorted coldly. "It's over like this? Although my brother accepted you as an underling, even if the death penalty can be avoided, the living crime cannot escape. I'm going to castrate you right now." Seeing this, Chenluo immediately played good cop. "Sister, just give it a chance. If it dares to run, you can castrate it later." This moved the big kangaroo so much, it quickly looked at Chenluo with a grateful face. Seeing this, Chenluo immediately put on an expression of "I'm doing this for your good" and said, "When my older sister gets angry, even I can't stop her. You better not run, okay? Also, why are you so strong?" Upon hearing this, the kangaroo immediately stated it was because it ate a piece of meat. Hearing this, Chenluo frowned. Is it that mysterious meat again? Did pieces of this kind of meat scatter all over the world? Thinking this, Chenluo continued to ask, "Are there many creatures with your strength on this continent?" Hearing this, the kangaroo proudly said, "I am the king of this continent. I am the invincible existence here. I had 2 companions who ate that kind of meat with me before, but they both exploded and died. Only I survived. I even handled their after-death affairs." Upon hearing this, Chenluo immediately jumped onto the kangaroo's back and shouted, "Quickly, take me to see your companions' bodies." Subsequently, the kangaroo led him to the corpses of the 2 kangaroos, but he was pleasantly surprised to find that although the kangaroo's body had rotted, that piece of meat looked very fresh. Seeing this, Chenluo didn't hesitate and immediately collected the 2 pieces of meat, thinking, "This thing can greatly increase strength. What would happen if I ate it?" After obtaining this piece of meat, Chenluo immediately found Rice and asked her to calculate what would happen if he ate this meat. Hearing this, Rice immediately said, "You must not eat it. If you do, the loss will outweigh the gain. However, this thing is all gain and no pain for Thunder King's pup and Sea Princess. I think it's more reliable to give this meat to them." Hearing this, Chenluo was shocked and shouted, "How did I not know that this damn thing is going to be a father?" Thunder King immediately said, "My wife just got pregnant a few days ago. Nothing can really be hidden from Rice." Huh? Upon hearing this, Chenluo immediately said that once the puppy is born, he will definitely present a big gift. "So, you won't object to me giving the meat to my sister first this time, right?" Thunder King was very understanding and immediately stated, "Everything should prioritize the overall situation. Master, I have no objections to this distribution." Subsequently, Chenluo announced that they would set up camp here first. "I'm going to seclude myself for a few days and summarize my abilities, trying to comprehend new skills. After all, there are many abilities that Chenluo cannot learn not because he can't, but because he hasn't thought in that direction. Otherwise, he would have understood spatial portals and time slowing down a long time ago." In the following days, Chenluo spent every day in a cave, contemplating what aspects of himself still needed strengthening. And to measure a person's strength, what mainly matters are their attack and defense. In terms of defense, he is void walking and spatial exile, plus that set of divine equipment. He can totally be said to have absolute defense, so what needs to be strengthened is the attack aspect. Although he has the ultimate move of the Dimension Blade, the drawback of this skill is that it consumes too much psychic power. Only when it has great lethality and small consumption is it the king's way. To reduce consumption, he could only use psychic power to trigger the power of space itself. If he successfully improves the Dimension Blade this time, not only can its power skyrocket tenfold, but its consumption can also be reduced by tens of times. Meanwhile, on the other side, the members of the Nature faction also began to explore this continent. Soon, they discovered a huge sky-reaching tree nearby, at least 10 times taller than the surrounding trees. However, just as everyone prepared to move forward to investigate, the horse suddenly acted as if it was frightened and refused to move forward even half a step. Seeing this, the captain immediately ordered word to return and report to the leader. This tree is definitely strange. But before he could finish speaking, the fruit on the tree emitted a tempting fragrance, and then everyone, as if bewitched, walked towards the big tree. Seeing this, the captain hurriedly shouted, "Not good. This fragrance will bewilder the mind and cause illusions." No sooner had the words fallen, the captain, who inhaled the fragrance, also fainted. In a short while, several team members became nourishment for this enchanting tree. When he woke up again, he found that more than half of the expedition team had died. Seeing this, he immediately used telepathic communication to feed back the situation to the base. Upon receiving the message, Zhao Zi immediately reported to Mi Ling. This made Mi Ling quite angry, and she immediately ordered Zhao Zi to quickly notify everyone not to approach that tree. "I'm going over now to burn it with a fire." Seeing this, Rice hastily shouted, "Mi Ling, you can't go. It's extremely dangerous for you. You absolutely must not do anything foolish." "See, Princess, you cannot go either. It's especially unsuitable for you to deal with this." Mi Ling, upon hearing this, suddenly froze in place, muttering to herself that Sea Princess's strength is only second to Chenluo's existence. Even she is not suitable to go. How terrifying is that enchanting tree? At this moment, Rice said with a sly smile, "This matter must be dealt with by that guy Chenluo. Not only can he resolve the crisis if he goes, but he can also gain a tremendous benefit. This is his opportunity." Meanwhile, on the other side, Chenluo was enveloped by an almost transparent light circle. A speck of dust fell above Chenluo but remained suspended on the surface of the light circle, unable to enter. Could this be the legendary time stoppage? But upon close inspection, it wasn't. Instead, Chenluo used his time-altering ability to enshroud himself, stopping the flow of time within the light circle. No matter what kind of attack, nothing could enter this light circle. At this moment, Chenluo couldn't help but sigh. "Originally, I wanted to understand attack skills, but what I understood is an invincible defense shield instead." But just at this moment, Zhao Zi suddenly sent him a telepathic message. "Brother Chen, something bad has happened. An enchanting tree has devoured many of our members." Rice said that neither Mi Ling nor Sea Princess could resolve it. "You must be the one to deal with this." Chenluo was shocked upon hearing this. Could that enchanting tree be of emperor level? Without further thought, Chenluo immediately stopped his cultivation, muttering to himself, "Since Rice said that I must be the one to go, proves that there will be no danger for me." Thinking of this, he hastily used void walking to arrive at the designated location, only to find that the enchanting tree was devouring his members at that moment. Just as Chenluo was about to make a move to save them, a tempting fragrance suddenly struck his nose. Fortunately, he took a step back in time to get out of range, thus not falling for the tree's trap. Seeing this, Chenluo did not hesitate and immediately used spatial cut, cutting down the fruit that was emitting the fragrance. Then he used spatial exile to pocket the fruit. But just then, several vines suddenly lashed towards Chenluo. Chenluo, not being foolish, immediately clutched the fruit and retreated at high speed. Unfortunately for the vines, their length was limited and they couldn't reach the sneaky Chenluo. Just as he was about to speak in mockery, the sky suddenly began to thunder and lightning, flashing and booming loudly. With a loud bang, a bolt of sky thunder shot straight towards Chenluo, but he sidestepped it skillfully. This infuriated the enchanting tree greatly. It hastily conjured up thunder and lightning again to envelop Chenluo. Seeing this, Chenluo smiled slightly. "You want to surround me with an area attack? It won't be that easy." Having said that, he used void walking to escape the encirclement. But what he absolutely didn't expect was that this enchanting tree was actually a dual element ability user, awakening abilities in both the thunder and dark elements, and this creature's strength was comparable to Chenluo's. However, its inability to move was its flaw. But just at this moment, that clever enchanting tree once again began to devour the members of Dawn City. This infuriated Chenluo greatly. He immediately shouted, "You damn thing, daring to eat my people right in front of me. You must be tired of living." Chenluo's hunting moment officially began. Without hesitating, Chenluo immediately employed spatial cut, rescuing the members from the enchanting tree's vines. Then he used spatial exile to send the rescued members back to the base. Before the enchanting tree could figure out what was happening, a dimensional blade suddenly slashed towards its main trunk. What Chenluo absolutely didn't expect was that this move did not split it in two as imagined, but instead only halved it and lost its subsequent power. Seeing this, Chenluo smiled slightly. "If one-dimensional blade doesn't work, then I'll use two." Just as Chenluo was about to take out the pearl of congealed frost to recover his abilities, pleading voices from the enchanting tree suddenly came through in Chenluo's mind. "Human, how about we call it quits here? You are only here to save people. As long as you promise me, I will let them go immediately. How about it?" To the tree demon's utter surprise, this human agreed to its request without even thinking about it and truly did not continue to take action. The tree demon was also very creditable and immediately released the members of Dawn City on the spot. Little did it know, if Chenluo's words could be relied upon, then even pigs might climb trees. At this moment, what Chenluo was thinking was, "First, I'll safely send everyone back to the base. Wait for me to deal with you later. Anyway, you don't have legs. Am I afraid that you'll run away?" Upon returning to the base, Chenluo immediately found Rice, asking her, "Will there be any danger if if I eat this fruit? After pondering for a moment, Rice promptly said, "Eat it. This is something good." At these words, Chenluo did not hesitate and bit into it eagerly, murmuring, "This is too delicious." I wanted to take a bite when I picked it, but I was afraid it was poisonous and refrained. However, no sooner had he spoken, Chenluo immediately sensed a stream of energy continuously flowing into his crystal. At this moment, Chenluo realized that this fruit had a marvel comparable to the crystal, and it could also increase the level of an ability user. No wonder Rice said it was good. Thinking of this, Chenluo immediately abandoned the idea of killing the enchanting tree, whispering to himself, "Let's drain it first. When it has no utility value, I'll take Mengyin to see if we can modify this enchanting tree. If not, we'll chop it down and use it as firewood." Subsequently, after having his fill, Chenluo once again sought out the enchanting tree. This scared the tree demon not slightly. It shouted in panic, "Why have you come again? Human, although I devoured your people, didn't you also take 3 of my fruits? Wasn't it agreed that we'd cease fire? You won't go back on your word, will you?" Hearing this, Chenluo chuckled. "Cease fire? Impossible. I took only 3 of your fruits, but you devoured 96 of my people. I calculate 10 fruits per member. That's not excessive, is it? Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless." But before Chenluo could finish speaking, the enchanting tree directly struck a purple lightning at Chenluo, shouting, "I've never seen such a brazen and shameless person." Hearing this, Chenluo hastily said, "Don't be so agitated. I have a way to help you produce fruits quickly." Chenluo immediately said, "I can provide food for you to devour, but the fruits produced belong to me, okay?" Because there were precisely 5 king-level corpses in Chenluo's ability space. Although their crystals were removed, there was still a significant amount of energy remaining in the bodies of the king-level strong, which could be put to good use. Hearing this, the tree demon didn't dare to refuse. The trunk damaged by him last time also needed energy to repair. Therefore, it was forced to agree to this transaction. Seeing this, Chenluo immediately took out a corpse from his ability space. The tree demon also didn't stand on ceremony and extended its vines to receive it. Subsequently, a giant bud swallowed it in one bite and said, "I need a day to absorb the energy. Come find me at this time tomorrow." The next day at noon, Chenluo arrived under the tree as promised, but was pleasantly surprised to find that a fruit had indeed formed on the tree. However, just as Chenluo was about to pick it, the tree demon suddenly stopped him, saying, "Wait a moment. Do you have any more food like yesterday? Can you give me 2 more to devour? I can make this fruit even higher level." Hearing this, Chenluo was instantly stunned on the spot, thinking, "Can this creature even produce king-level fruit?" Thinking of this, Chenluo did not dawdle and immediately took out another king-level corpse for it to devour. The next day, although the fruit had not grown much, its shimmering luster almost blinded Chenluo's eyes. Moreover, the tree's body, which was split in half by the dimension blade, had also recovered most of its form. Then, the enchanting tree said with a sense of reluctance, "This fruit has now reached the limit of my abilities." Before it could finish speaking, Chenluo unceremoniously picked the fruit and immediately took a bite, only to be pleasantly surprised to find that the energy contained in this fruit had reached the mid-king level standard. This instantly thrilled Chenluo beyond words. That is to say, as long as he has this tree, even if he does not find king-level crystals, he can break through to emperor level by eating the fruit. Thus, this tree's value is tremendous. Thinking of this, Chenluo hurriedly asked the tree demon, "If I only provide you with lower-level food, can you still produce this kind of fruit?" The tree demon immediately indicated that it could, but it would take much more time. Hearing this, Chenluo was ecstatic, whispering to himself, "As long as I provide it with food in the future, I can continuously get king-level fruits. Next, I just need to instruct members to collect corpses." With this in mind, Chenluo immediately gave the remaining 3 king-level corpses to the tree demon, expressing, "In the future, I can provide food for you regularly. How about we split the resulting fruits 50-50? The tree demon, without a second word, agreed to this deal, mumbling, "You humans can deal. May our cooperation be pleasant." Seeing this, Chenluo immediately sent a psychic message to Xiaohaoren, asking him to lead 3,000 soldiers to the neighboring Lotus Root State to collect corpses. After doing these things, Chenluo returned to the base, only to find Long Yu excitedly presenting a pair of glasses to Thunder King. "This is a titanium alloy dog I made for you. You can also launch your electrical ability through these glasses." Upon hearing this, Thunder King couldn't wait to put on the titanium alloy dog eye. The next second, Thunder King shot an electric bolt from his eyes, shouting, "This thing is simply a divine tool." These titanium crystal dog eyes not only reduce the ability consumption by 50%, but also increase skill damage by 30%. The only shortcoming is that it can only release low-level abilities. Middle and high-level skills cannot be used. Hearing this, Long Yu immediately explained that this is because the magic tool is too small. To use advanced skills, one would have to create a staff-type weapon. Unfortunately, my current level is not enough. I cannot make a weapon that can use high-level abilities, he added. Hearing this, Chenluo thought that he must give him a hand. After the arrival of the monsters, having a suitable weapon can significantly increase the efficiency of killing them. Moreover, everything Long Yu makes is tantamount to a divine tool. In order to help him become a forging grandmaster as soon as possible, Chenluo not only generously took out a king-level crystal for him to absorb, but also used time acceleration to help him speed up the absorption process. At this moment, Long Yu felt as if, in the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. Seeing this, Long Yu immediately asked incredulously, "Brother Chen, how did you do that? This is too miraculous." Hearing this, Chenluo didn't treat Long Yu as an outsider and directly told him the secret that he had mastered the time ability. Upon hearing this, Long Yu was suddenly shocked. He didn't expect that there would be abilities to change time in this world. Seeing this, Chenluo quickly reminded Long Yu not to be distracted. "You first calm down and absorb the crystal. Let's talk about other things after I help you break through to king level." At this moment, he was just a step away from advancing to king level. Subsequently, with Chenluo's help, Long Yu quickly absorbed Bai Hao's metallic crystal, and after a bout of heart-piercing pain, he successfully advanced to king level. Then, Chenluo said solemnly, "Now you have the ability to forge divine artifacts. Thunder King may not be accustomed to using a staff, so you should make it an arm guard or something. Also, focus on researching weapons of the spatial series next. The Void Blade is useful, but after all, it's a skill and needs ability to maintain its form. Furthermore, the weapons made by Long Yu not only could reduce the consumption of ability, but also increase damage effects." Hearing this, Long Yu immediately assured, "Please rest assured, Brother Chen, there is spatial metal in your divine armor. Allow me to go back and research it and ensure the task is completed." Having experienced helping Long Yu accelerate his promotion, Chenluo also prepared to lend a hand to other core members. Meanwhile, on the other side, Turtle King encountered his childhood friend Vertical River Turtle in the deep sea, which scared the latter quite a bit. It immediately shouted, "You've gotten so big since I last saw you. How is this possible?" At this time, Turtle King said proudly, "That's because I performed well and was blessed by Lord Sea King, directly allowing me to break through a major realm." Hearing this, Vertical River Turtle shouted, "Is it really that magical? How can I receive the blessings of Lord Sea King?" Turtle King immediately stated, "We pay our respects to Sea King at the end of every month. I will inform you then. I have to go and perform the task assigned to me by Lord Sea King now, so I won't chat with you anymore." Watching the childhood friend's departing figure, Vertical River Turtle secretly vowed to become a disciple under Lord Sea King. Even though it was the king of Vertical River, it held no significant rank in the vast ocean. At that moment, the great prophet who planned to invade Chenluo's country also came to Vertical River, asking Vertical River Turtle to join him in annihilating Chenluo's nation. He mentioned that, according to the spies, there was a base called Dawn City in the Dragon Country, not to be underestimated, and their leader Chenluo was even more formidable, supposedly a level 9 power, possibly even level 10. Hearing this, Vertical River Turtle sneered and said, "Just relax, both of us are level 10, what is there to fear? First, help me gather some respectable treasures quickly. They must be in my hands before the end of the month. I want to present them as a gift to Lord Sea King." Unbeknownst to it, the person it aimed to destroy and the person it planned to worship were the same individual, Chenluo. Meanwhile, Chenluo had Xiaohaoren lead a team to Lotus Root State to collect corpses. Unexpectedly, they were mistaken as invaders by Lotus Root State's overlord, Arthur, who promptly gathered his strongest 12 knights, ordering them and their subordinates to join him in annihilating the foreign enemy. He vowed to make sure these ignorant people would never return. At this moment, Xiaohaoren, who had collected more than 3,000 zombie corpses, was blissfully unaware of the impending danger. Just then, Xiao Wenwei said solemnly, "I have just notified Brother Chen via telepathy to come to collect the bodies." But before the words were fully spoken, a mental-type member urgently shouted, "This is bad. I sense a large group of people approaching us." Before he could finish speaking, Arthur, along with tens of thousands of soldiers, surrounded Xiaohaoren and the others, taunting, "You are doomed today." With that, he charged forward, wielding the king's sword. Seeing this, Xiao Wenwei transformed into a giant bear, standing firm before the army, and shouting, "I am here. You shall not act recklessly." Without wasting words, Arthur unleashed a sword aura towards Xiao Wenwei. The next second, the 2-ton giant bear was blasted away by the powerful sword aura, vomiting blood. This frightened Xiaohaoren significantly, knowing that although the transformed Xiao Wenwei might not be as offensive as himself, her defense was comparable to Su Daju. Even a level 10 ability user would find it difficult to harm her. Could this guy be king level? Before he could figure out the situation, Arthur aggressively swung his sword towards Xiaohaoren and the others again. A loud boom echoed as the formidable sword aura instantly swept away dozens of members. Just as Arthur was raising the king's sword again, preparing for another attack, Chenluo timely appeared on the battlefield with a void walk. Seeing this, Xiao Wenwei hurried over and complained, "Leader, this guy is bullying us. Beware of the treasure sword in his hand. I can't even block his sword aura." Only now did Chenluo pay attention to Arthur's king's sword, muttering to himself that the sword was the same color as his armor and must be the weapon from that divine set. Looking at the abruptly appearing Chenluo, Arthur curiously asked, "Who are you?" Instead of answering, Chenluo inquired where he found that sword and stated that he could spare his life if he handed over the sword. Hearing this, Arthur was instantly infuriated, wishing to snatch my king's sword, purely a pipe dream. Meet your doom. Saying this, he unleashed his ultimate move, move, Dark Sky Cleaver. Seeing this, Chenluo did not dodge, but raised his arm and coldly said, "Since your ultimate move is so powerful, let me see just how mighty it is." As the words fell, Arthur mysteriously appeared in front of Chenluo, blocking his own strongest strike for him. At this moment, a puzzled Arthur was somewhat baffled. He didn't understand why he had crippled himself. Then Chenluo said with a grin, "Surprised or not, expected or not, will you hand over the sword?" Although Arthur was scared enough to wet himself by his move, he still said the same sentence, "No sword for you, only my life. If you dare, kill me." The moment the words fell, the arm holding the king's sword was disarmed by Chenluo, and the next second, the sword naturally fell into Chenluo's hands. Chenluo did not attend to the screaming Arthur for the time being, but carefully looked at the king's sword in his hand. After some observation, Chenluo was sure that this sword was a weapon of the divine equipment, so he immediately transferred a trace of space power into the sword, and then waved it casually. A huge sword aura was produced, and many of Arthur's men were killed or injured in the distance. However, Chenluo was not satisfied with this. Although this divine sword increased the attack range and enhanced the skill damage, the overall increase was not very large. Compared with other divine equipments, it seemed a bit unimportant. Could it be that this weapon is not suitable for the space system? While Chenluo was pondering, Xiong Wenwei suddenly rushed up, bear-hugged Arthur, and shouted, "You waste. Let's see how you fight me without weapons." Then another bare palm broke two of his ribs. What Chenluo did not expect was that Arthur's obsession with the king's sword was really deep. Even without the arm that held the sword, he still shouted to give the sword back to him. Chenluo did not pay attention to this, but decisively cut off Arthur's head with a sword. For these knights of the temple who wanted to annihilate his brothers, Chenluo did not indulge them. He immediately released the newly understood space storm at them. The next second, the entire area where the knights of the temple were located experienced spatial turbulence. Although this move was not very powerful, it had a super long duration and a super large skill range. It couldn't be more appropriate to deal with an army of tens of thousands. After resolving the matters here, Chenluo immediately used a spacewalk to return to the base. Then he couldn't wait to take out the other pieces of divine equipment, thinking that it seemed to be just one piece short of a lower garment. There wouldn't be things like shoulder guards and belts, right? If I were all these divine equipments at the same time now, will I activate any set effects? Thinking of this, Chenluo immediately asked Rice if there would be any danger if I wear this equipment now. Upon hearing this, Rice smiled slightly. "Now I finally understand what paranoia is. Just put them on with ease. There is no danger." Upon hearing this, Chenluo confidently put on the whole set of divine equipment, but was surprised to find that he did not get any set bonuses. Could it be that a complete set of divine equipment is required to get one? However, he did feel that the defense in various aspects had been greatly enhanced, so he immediately asked Sea Princess to attack him with dark deterrence to try, as he wanted to see if this set of equipment could withstand mental attacks. Hearing this, Sea Princess did not hesitate. She fully exerted the dark deterrence. Seeing this, Chenluo hurriedly said, "Sister, don't go easy. Why don't I feel anything?" Unexpectedly, Sea Princess used several dark deterrences on Chenluo in succession, but none of them caused him any mental harm. At this moment, Chenluo finally realized it was the helmet that blocked the mental attack for him. Meanwhile, on the other side, the joint army of Yuzi and Brown Bear had reached the border. The first national war after the apocalypse was on the verge of breaking out, and the one who initiated this war was the great prophet who proposed the god-making plan. His purpose was to snatch the crystals from the survivors in order to create a godlike existence for himself. At this moment, the great prophet said solemnly, "Send the order down. The army will rest for a day, and follow me to flatten them early tomorrow." Subsequently, the leader of the Brown Bear found the great prophet, asking him if there is a sure win in this battle. "I heard that there is a base called Dawn City that is very strong." Hearing this, the great prophet smiled slightly. "Just a base? Can it compare with our 100,000 elites? Besides, with the help of the vertical river tortoise god, we will surely win this battle." As soon as the words fell, a brother ran over and shouted anxiously, "Great prophet, it's not good. We were ambushed by a group of zombies and instantly slaughtered hundreds of our brothers." Hearing this, the great prophet immediately shouted, "What are you panicking about? It's just a group of zombies. Just annihilate them." But who knew? The little brother said that there are at least 1,000 zombies, and they are all above level 8. Several of our level 7 powerhouses didn't even use their abilities, and their entire arms were bitten off by the zombies. The great prophet was shocked when he heard this, and shouted, "Quickly take me to see." But when they arrived, the army of zombies had long since disappeared. Little did they know that the person leading the raid was Big Strong, and this group of fools were nothing more than moving meat in his eyes. Meanwhile, on the other side, Muhong also gathered forces from various parties to discuss countermeasures, hoping that everyone would put aside their previous grievances and present a united front. At this moment, a female leader spoke angrily. "Dawn City has disappeared at this critical moment. Their base is where 90% of our country's elites are assembled." Upon hearing this, everyone began to discuss whether Chenluo knew about this in advance, and therefore took people away way ahead of time. Hearing this, Mu Hong immediately shouted, "Everyone please remain calm. Qianluo is not that kind of person. They left a stronghold by the sea before they left. I have sent people to notify them. What we have to do now is to hold on until Qianluo comes back. I, Mu Hong, will fight to the death without retreating. Those who are not afraid of death, follow me." Meanwhile, on the other side, numerous independent individuals also learned of the news of the foreign invasion, although all of these people were low-level superhumans not taken in by any base. When they heard that someone wanted to invade, they voluntarily united to resist the foreign enemy. Even if they were to be cannon fodder, they would die and take someone with them. And these words were just heard by Qianluo, who had rushed back. Although these people were very insignificant in his eyes, they all bravely stepped forward without fear of death when the country was in crisis. This deeply moved Qianluo. He quietly said, "Rest assured, I will not stand by and watch you go to your deaths. I will hold up the sky if it collapses." At this moment, Mu Hong has also led his troops to stand in front of the enemy line, asking them why they wanted to invade our country. "If it's for resources, please go back. We don't have any either." At this moment, the great prophet said solemnly, "We are not here for resources. I will create a powerful being that is on par with gods, leading everyone through the apocalypse, and your country is fortunate to have been chosen to accomplish such a great feat. What an honor." Hearing this, Mu Hong instantly understood everything, silently cursing that the great prophet really has no shame. Little did he know that at this moment Qianluo had already arrived on the battlefield, staring at the great prophet with a look as if he were looking at a dead person. Following an order from Qianluo, Sea Princess was the first to rush into the battlefield with the king's sword in hand. Although this divine sword did not greatly amplify the space-oriented Qianluo, it multiplied the power of the dark-oriented Sea Princess. Seeing this scene, the great prophet was instantly shocked, muttering to himself, "This girl can actually fly. Could she also be level 10 like me?" Thinking of this, the great prophet hurriedly ordered, "All of you go, bring that woman down for me," and he himself slowly retreated to the back of the army. Seeing this, Qianluo did not indulge him. "Want to run? It's not that easy." With a loud shout for avoid banishment from Qianluo, the next second, the great prophet was trapped in a spatial cage in midair by Qianluo. At this moment, Qianluo spoke with a sly smile. "You're brave, actually daring to come and seek death willingly, so I won't be polite then. So, Mr. Prophet, please quietly stay here and watch our performance." Hearing this, the great prophet became instantly furious. He dashed left and right in the cage with horror, but no matter how he struggled, he could never break Qianluo's spatial cage. At this moment, Sea Princess was already seeing red. With a casual wave, 5 eyes of darkness appeared in the sky, beginning a merciless sweep of Yuzi's army. But it didn't end there. With a giant dark magic bullet slowly condensing in Sea Princess's hand, the next moment an energy ball with a diameter of more than 10 meters was violently thrown out from Sea Princess's hand. With a loud boom, all brown bears and Yuzi within a kilometer were instantly turned to ash. This stunned Mu Hong, who was not far away. Her legs involuntarily began to tremble. Originally thinking that only a few of them rushing here would not change the situation, they did not expect it to become a situation where they crushed a million-strong army. Especially that woman. She's simply a death god. Too terrifying. Originally, not only was Qianluo's strength from Dawn City so terrifying, seeing Sea Princess single-handedly stealing the limelight, the so-called battlefield harvester, Thunder King, was not to be outdone. He jumped above the crowd. Then with both hands forming seals, he condensed countless paths of purple thunder and lightning, shouting that no one should steal his points. With a wave of Thunder King's big hand, thousands of purple lightning bolts violently struck Yuzi's army, instantly electrifying tens of thousands of people, burnt on the outside, tender on the inside. "Oh great turtle god, where are you? Come and save me." Little did he know, at this moment the turtle was also struggling to protect itself. In order to save its life, it actually claimed to be Sea King's mount. "If you guys touch me, that's opposing Lord Sea King. Under Lord Sea King, there are dozens of king-level powerhouses. Oh, my cousin, the great sea turtle, is one of them." Hearing these words, the crowd immediately burst into uproarious laughter. "You say you are Sea King's mount? Isn't this turtle here to make a joke? Also, how many king-level powerhouses did you say?" Upon hearing this, Vertical River Turtle immediately spoke solemnly. "Is it that funny? This is disrespect to Lord Sea King." At this moment, Sea Princess coldly said, "You idiot, Lord Sea King is right here. Don't you see? My brother Qianluo is the Sea King you're talking about. Tell me, isn't that funny?" Hearing these words, the Vertical River Turtle was immediately shocked and dismayed. It had intended to mention Lord Sea King's name for self-preservation, but it capsized in the gutter instead. Also greatly shocked was Mu Hong. She could not believe that Qianluo was not only the overlord among humans, but also made the zombie emperor his subordinate, and even all marine creatures paid him respect and worshipped him as Sea King. At this moment, Qianluo spoke with a sly smile. "I don't remember having a mount like you, do I?" With that, he harshly kicked Vertical River Turtle in the face, shouting, "I will settle the score with you later. Now get back and ask your king-level cousin whether I am the Sea King in your mouth. Also, if you dare not come to the ocean creature meeting at the end of the month, I will exterminate your 9 clans." But just at this moment, Mu Hong suddenly ran to Qianluo and asked, "Was what that turtle said true?" Qianluo replied with a calm face, "Being Sea King king is true. As for having dozens of king-level subordinates, there will certainly be, after not too long. But who would have known that as soon as the words fell, Vertical River Turtle unleashed the fastest speed of its life, madly running in one direction. This time, I have been completely screwed over by you, making me offend Lord Sea King. Seeing this, Chenluo did not stop it. Afterward, he released a great prophet from the spatial cage. Seeing that his forces had been completely annihilated at this point, the great prophet immediately thudded to his knees in front of Chenluo. Young man, could you spare me this time? Before he could finish speaking, a force of space pierced directly through the great prophet's skull. At this moment, Muhong slowly came over and said, "This time, it was truly thanks to your timely arrival. Thank you for saving us." Hearing this, Chenluo immediately stated that it was all something he should do. After saying this, he took 2 tons of rice from the special ability space, and then stated, "Now, let's talk about the help matter. I offer a pound of rice a day to ask you all to help me find a piece of bottom equipment. 100 people in a group. A group comes to me to get 2 packs of rice a day. The person who helps me find it can make any request to me. In the group they are in will be additionally rewarded with a ton of pork." Upon hearing this, everyone expressed their willingness to serve leader Chen wholeheartedly. Afterward, tens of thousands of people, after receiving the rice, immediately began to take action. After returning to the base, Chenluo saw Rice looking at the sky with a worried face, so he went forward to ask Rice what happened. Hearing this, Rice looked at the starry sky blankly and said, "I have already broken through to king level just now, and there are 9 months and 16 days left." Although these words were a bit inexplicable, Chenluo instantly realized that this was the time when monsters would descend. Previously, Rice could only predict approximately, didn't expect that after advancing to king level, it could predict the exact time. Thinking of this, Chenluo hastily asked if any new abilities were awakened. Hearing this, Rice did not dilly-dally, and immediately demonstrated its new skill in front of him. It seemed to be praying. Meanwhile, on the other side, in the vast cosmic starry sky, a massive energy group was drifting through the galaxy. The final destination of this energy group was Blue Star. Under normal circumstances, it would arrive in 10 years, but with Rice's change, it would no longer take extra routes, and would arrive at Blue Star in just over a year. After doing all this, Rice walked away without looking back. At this moment, Chenluo was completely dumbfounded, hastily shouting, "What is your new ability? Why didn't I see anything?" Upon hearing this, Rice immediately said, "Don't ask. Asking would be revealing the heavenly secret. When the time comes, you will naturally know."